All right, we got one more game before I can burn this hat, but not before Miami covers the damn game like it did a couple of nights ago. Welcome in the NBA Tip-Off Show, Friday edition. We got 2 play-in games, and then we've got a weekend packed with nothing, and I mean nothing but quality playoff basketball. We got 2 guys here that are going to help us navigate through it all as we welcome in Teddy Covers in the house, as is Mr. Lang. He is the prop god. We are absolutely going to have a prop here or 2 that you guys might want to hone in on, and we'll take a look at maybe a series or 2 that the guys like a little bit more than the rest. But we do have a game coming up here. First one up, 7 o'clock down the road for me here, if you haven't guessed that already, as the Miami Heat will be taking on the Chicago Bulls. And I swear to God, if I hear one more person tell me, no Jimmy Butler, no way. Okay. You do realize they're playing the Bulls, right? Just want to make sure everyone's on the same page there and they didn't switch the team. Teddy, it's been one of the more profitable angles in the NBA, the overreaction of a star player going down. The only better spot to bet over the years has been that first game that star player comes back in. We love to hammer it the other way as well. So in this game here tonight, are you of the mindset that no Jimmy Butler, Miami's not capable of winning this game?
So what was the exact phraseology you used there? You said no Jimmy, Miami can't win.
Jimmy,
was that what it was?
Yes. No Jimmy can't win.
And you're sick of hearing that?
Yes.
Well, guess what? No Jimmy,
Christ.
Miami can't win.
Oh, look at this. Look at it. Did you tell Jimmy that?
I just did, but I wanted the emo Jimmy, I wanted the, not that Jimmy. I like the emo Jimmy from the NBA pictures this year. But look, let's start with this. Last year was last year. This year is this year. And bettors need to know that and need to remember that. Because, look what Miami did last year. Well, you know what Miami did? How they did it last year? How'd they get started? They beat the Bulls on this floor in the play-in game. A game that Chicago led. I think they were up 5 in the fourth quarter. They were up 7 midway through the fourth. And Miami went on a run, took the game, and used the momentum to go all the way to the finals. That was last year. Chicago still remembers very well how they had a fourth quarter lead and let it get away from them last year. You read the quotes from the Bulls, that team is hungry. That team is focused. That team's coming to play. In the regular season, we love teams playing without their superstars. Everybody else on the team steps up. The opposing team lets down. It literally is like clockwork. And if you just bet against these teams when the star doesn't play, you lose money. If you bet on the teams when the star's not playing, you make money. That's regular season. Postseason's a different story. In the postseason, when your stars don't play, you lose and go home. That's what Miami's going to do tonight.
We have is it Candy in the chat room has now just bet his dog in the house on the Bulls money line tonight. So that poor dog is going to be homeless before it's all said and done here. Caruso, by the way, I believe we have heard as an update is active. He's going to give it to go,
Probable.
Which is another important part because if guys can go in the playoffs, they tend to go. They're not playing the long game here, are they, Teddy? If they can play, they'll play here in the playoffs.
Me? Yeah.
I mean, guys will play if they. Kawhi will play if Kawhi is hell. If Kawhi can go, Kawhi's playing. It's not the regular season, right?
Yeah, this isn't. Let's rest and manage our minutes. This is. It's push comes to shove time. This time of year in the NBA.
It is.
For Chicago, Caruso's probable. Dosunmu is still questionable. He played the other night. I see no reason. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't play tonight. Drummond, in my mind, is a question for the Bulls. But I would expect both Caruso and Dosunmu to play.
I'm expecting both of them in there. Now, Andy, prior to us coming on, you You had wonderful things to say about this matchup. You were really looking forward to it from the tone that I heard. So what is it that you, from a prop betting perspective, I've heard a lot today that, well, no Jimmy, that means Tyler Hero's usage is going to go up. There are other guys in Miami that have to make up the difference. How would you approach the prop market here in this game?
Well, kudos to you, Joe. Of all the players in the playoffs, you could have picked for an example of, well, if they're okay to play, they're going to play. You went with Kawhi Leonard. Yeah. Bold choice of all the players. Yes, if he can play, he's certainly going to play. No, I'm not going with. I'm actually going to go to the Bulls and go Kobe White. We talked about this on WagerTalk today. Ooh. Over 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I loved how involved he was in the playing game against Atlanta. 15 of 21 from the field. He added 9 rebounds. 6 assists, and at 30.5, I just don't believe in the perimeter defense of Tyler Hero and Patty Mills, who it looks like is going to be getting a lot of playing time. So I think that's going to be a really big weak spot for Miami. Kobe White had as many shots as DeMar DeRozan against Atlanta, and there's just not a lot of guys who are going to produce offensively from Chicago. So I'm not going to take just the points. I do see B Daddy in the chat saying Kobe White over 2.5 3-pointers. Could be a good one. I'm just going to stick with supporting Kobe White in the points, rebounds, and assists over 30.5.
Over 30.5. We've got in the chat room, I'm hearing Kobe White over 2.5 3-pointers. I'm also seeing this total, Teddy, is this total dropped or are we still at the 205 mark, somewhere in that ballpark?
So we opened as high as 209.5. The broader market's open 208. We were as low as 205 this morning. And now we've seen over money. 205s are gone. 205.5s are gone. We're at 206/206.5. So this line was bet down heavily. And now, again, this isn't public money. This is sharp money is pushing the number back up.
Yeah, it hit bottom there. So 205, 205.5. We're starting to see it climb back up. Teddy, would your advice be to somebody if they have not bet Miami yet or Chicago, bet it now? Do you think this number continues to move towards Chicago before tip, or do you think the Miami money is sitting on the sideline waiting to hear whatever?
So I locked in at +2 with Chicago. I did not wait. I found, and there are +2s out there, +1.5, the prevailing number. 2 was the number I was looking for, and that's the number that I locked in at. I'm not expecting any significant line moves between now and tip-off. I'm really not. In terms of injury, I mean, the one injury status that, again, we still have officially the Sumo is questionable. I think he's going to play. He played the other night. Drummond is questionable. Rozier's out. Robinson's probable. Yeah. Robinson's going to play. I think the 2 guards for Chicago is going to play. So the only thing that would move this number is Drummond. And how much is Drummond going to move the number? Nothing.
Right.
I don't. Again, so I found the +2 and locked in at that number. If you shop around, you can find +2s right now.
All right, so you got some, shop around. That's always a great suggestion there, guys. Number 8, Miami. Number 9, the Bulls for the right to lose to the Celtics, which has also got to be a whole lot of fun. And shame on Spencer, who is now traveling in the alternate market, and hell, he's laying 10. He don't care. He thinks it's an absolute bloodbath here tonight in South. They will rename the building after you, Spencer, if they lose by 10 here tonight. I guarantee you that if you call that shot. My goodness here. And by the way, I mean, we know the Celtics are sitting there. I mean, I'm curious, Teddy. Is it it's got to be Chicago, right? No, if you don't like Jimmy Butler in this game or think Miami can get by, well, okay, Chicago and Boston, is that a decent look ahead? Do you think they can give them a fight, or is this just also going to be a run through here as soon as this one is done?
I don't know who's going to give Boston a fight. If it's going to be a team, I don't think it's Chicago. I don't think it's Miami. Now, again, could it go 6 games? Sure, it could go 6 games. We'll see how much Boston puts the pedal to the metal. We'll see how their perimeter shooting is. But I got the Celtics pencil into the finals. Out of the East, I don't think anyone in the East is close to Boston. And from an injury standpoint, Celtics should lose Tatum, and I still make them favorites over anyone else in the conference.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've always said I think the biggest problem the Celtics are going to have are the Celtics. Can they get out of their own way and get it done here? That remains to be seen, but they got to get that one done. And then, of course, on the other side, here's OKC just waiting to figure out who they're playing, Andy. And it's going to start with the game after that with the winner of Sacramento taking on New Orleans. Shocker, we got another big injury story in this one with no Zion Williamson. So Zion pulled a hammy at the buffet, doesn't know what to do with himself. This number is now down to 211, I think, on the total. So the total has come down here a little bit. It's an intriguing matchup, one that has been dominated by New Orleans. What are they, 5-0 against them this year? I mean, they have basically owned Sacramento, but no Zion. Does that mean that opens the door for a prop or two in this game for you, Andy?
Yeah, I'll go with Domantas Sabonis under 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's gone under in 7 out of the last 10 games, and obviously he's a stat machine, but I think I got this number a little bit too high. Last 2 games against New Orleans, only 32 and 33 points, rebounds, and assists. He actually doesn't take that many shots. He's efficient with them, and he's certainly going to grab his fair share of rebounds, but he has had a terrible track record against Valanciunas. He's not played well against him. So I know no Zion tonight, but numbers a little bit too high at 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Probably the perimeter guys for Sacramento are going to have a nice little advantage. So Sabonis, just too high of a number. I'll take the under.
I don't even want to ask, Andy. Is he still rolling with the double-double record? Is he, or did that cease to exist? Because at one point it was up to like -$3. Like, what are we betting?
It was
like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, well, there for a while it was like -200 on a triple double. Like it was just laughable. It's like you got to lay 1 to 2 to get a triple double on there. So no, I might take the under on it. He rebounds, especially, he really struggles with against Valanciunas. It's just been a really bad matchup for him over the season.
It hasn't been good, Teddy. So how much, let me ask you this, Teddy, because all of those games, I think when we looked at them, there were guys missing left and right on both teams. I mean, it wasn't like full complement. I think there was a game or two in which Zion didn't play. Ingram didn't play in one. They didn't have Monk in another. There was all sorts of mixing and matching in those 5 games. So how much stock do you put into the results from the regular season versus what we're going to get here tonight as currently constructed?
Is there a number less than 0 that I can use?
There you go. It's a good point, and it's one that has to be hammered, because don't quote 5-0 and not have any idea what was a part of that, because like you said, Teddy, how much does it really mean with what's going to happen tonight?
None. I mean, not even a little bit. I mean, not even a little bit. But it will ensure one thing. Sacramento's focus is there. Boy, you read the quotes out of that locker room. They're hungry specifically for New Orleans. All right, they're ready for the Pelicans in theory. And, of course, the bigger issue for me is what is being called the home court advantage for New Orleans. All right. This is what New Orleans has done at home. They lost by 21 to the Cavs, by 7 to the Thunder, by 12 to the Celtics, by 13 to the Suns, by 9 to the Magic, by 2 to the Spurs, and that all came before they just lost back-to-back games at home against the Lakers. This is no home field advantage, no home court advantage right now. In fact, when you feel the pressure on New Orleans, when you look at the way they're playing at home, that's a home court disadvantage right now. There's no confidence for this team on this floor. They're without their one superstar. Come on. I mean, and the money's coming back towards New Orleans now. You know, I wasn't going to play this game with the Kings' favor. There's no way. At Pick'em, I'm like, I'm going to write up Sacramento as a free play. I'm seeing 1.5s out there right now.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
At 1.5, I get to the betting window. Certainly at 2, I get to the betting window with Sacramento. At 1.5, I consider it. But New Orleans has no home court edge, and the markets are saying they do, and they don't, and they're without their best player. Kings are passed for me.
Yeah, we got some questions in, and I would encourage you guys. I know Foxyfy, welcome in here. Thanks for swinging by. Guys, don't forget to hit that thumbs up, that like button if you could for us. We'd certainly appreciate it. But also check out the links in the description. I know Rob Vino had done a great video and breakdown on the total for this game. I would encourage you guys to drop down in the description and check that video out. It's the one thing, though, Teddy, that when you look at, forget the side as a toss-up and even love here, but when you looked at those previous games, these aren't exactly teams that were fighting for unders in their previous contests, but all we keep hearing about is unders in the playoffs here. Well, does that include the play-in? Are we getting an under here tonight, do you think?
Last 15 games of the regular season. All right, the Sacramento Kings. No defense, Sacramento. Number 6 in the NBA in defensive rating. All right, they're playing defense. All right, they played defense against Golden State the other night. New Orleans has a bevy of elite defenders. A bevy. It's not just Herb Jones. It's not just Jose Alvarado. That team is really good defensively, even without Zion in the lineup. This total opened as high as 218.5, got bet all the way down to 210. And now we're seeing some over money come in. Back up 210.5, 211 in many spots. The line move took me off the under, but I'm sure as hell not betting over in this game. I know the market's moving that way right now, not with my money. Yep. The Kings, in my mind, of all the things, that Kings full season defense versus current form defense is something worth paying attention to. The season-long numbers for Sacramento right now are lying.
Ooh, all right, I love it. Foxyfy said he did check out the video from Rob, wanted to pick your brain, Teddy, and I think Teddy just laid it out for you there. Not agreeing with the market there at all in this one as it continues to push up. So I hope that helps you make a decision one way or the other. I will ask you this, Andy, because I don't know if you were on any of the Keegan Murray props there in that game against Golden State. Good God, has he missed a shot yet in the last since that game? The dude was out of control. Has the market overreacted? I didn't see what his number was, but usually what happens is the market overreacts to those kinds of, what he hit, 7, 8 threes in that game against Golden State. I'm wondering if there's any value looking for him not to continue that kind of ridiculous shooting here tonight.
Well, the books have been pretty steady with these. It takes a lot. It doesn't normally take one game for the books to move a line. They normally need to see like a sustained run of like 5 or 6 games. So I always go back to like the LeBron James and Austin Reeves numbers on 1.5 3-pointers. They were hitting 8, 9, 10 games in a row with them before the books made a move. So, one outlier is not really enough to move the line. You would need a sustained run. Now, it can absolutely happen during the course of a series. We've seen that happen many times where, just matchup dependent. If they set a number on, for example, Keegan Murray threes and he goes over the first 3 games, then they will make a move. But for this game, on a one-off game, no movement there.
Yeah, but there. Vibey, I believe, in the chat also, we just touched on the total in this game. Teddy, you had mentioned the money, sharp money, in fact, pushing the total up in this Miami game coming up early. Did you agree with that move towards the over? It feels like a first 1 to 100 kind of game, but you got a different feel on that one with where the market is looking?
My initial lean was towards the under in this ball game. The markets moved it under right off the opener. And when I went through the regular season meeting, again, you don't want to go put too much emphasis on the regular season meetings, but you don't want to, you want to at least look through all the box scores and see what happened in those games. Both teams matched up fairly well offensively against each other. My initial lean towards the under when I started going through the box scores and the game recaps of those regular season meetings, it was one I'm like, yeah, I like side here more than total. Again, under was a lean, didn't get there.
Didn't get there with that one. All right. I hope that answers those questions in the chat room. Guys, again, hit that thumbs up if you haven't done so already. We appreciate it, as we'll look ahead now and see. Okay, so Sacramento wins. They got to take on OKC. All right, wait a minute. If it's not Sacramento, that means New Orleans got to take on OKC. I think we are all in agreement that we don't give a crap who wins the Miami-Chicago game. Chances are Boston will handle business here. Are we of that same mindset, Teddy, with OKC, where the chances are it really doesn't make a difference who goes there? Or do you think maybe some of that experience on Sacramento might be an issue here moving forward if it is, in fact, them?
So if Zion gets healthy, the Pelicans can beat the Thunder.
Oh.
If Sacramento plays well, the Kings can beat the Thunder. We're not going to see, I don't know what Boston's going to be priced at. Minus 2,000, minus 3,000, minus 5,000. In the West, we will not see the number one seed anywhere near that number. Not even close. And obviously, look, the NBA playoffs experience matters. Being there before matters. Winning playoff series matters. You rarely see teams come from completely out of nowhere and make deep, deep runs in the playoffs. It happens sometimes, occasionally, but the majority of time, you look at the four teams in the finals, the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference finals, those are all teams that were in the playoffs last year, won a playoff series last year, generally. Not always, but generally. So, yeah, I think OKC will be tested in round one. I'm not going to say they're going to lose the series, but we're not going to see anywhere near the series price from the West that we're going to see in the East.
I love that. Yeah, experience absolutely matters there. And experience is what they're looking for in the chat room here, Andy. Pixel Central wants to know, he's looking at DeMar under on points. Is there anything else that you would pair that with here tonight? And I don't know if you're a big fan of pairing prop bets here or parlaying them, but you did give one in each game there. Would you, I guess that would be, it'd have to go same game if you were going to use the first one there. What are you thinking?
If you like DeMar DeRozan to go under, you might as well take the Bulls team total under. It'd be hard pressed to see DeMar go under and the Bulls go over. So that would be something. But if you like DeMar to go under, maybe you slide Kobe White over points or Vucevic over points. Because the Bulls got to keep up with the Heat scoring. If you don't like DeMar, then maybe try and correlate it with something else, somebody else to go over the points. But Kobe White is the only thing I'm in play in tonight.
All right, there you go for that one. And as we look ahead to Andy, I just wanted to get some of your thoughts on some of these props moving forward, the series props. I know there was some conversations. I've seen a lot of people talking about, well, a lot of question marks with Kawhi, right? How healthy is that knee going to be? He's taking shots, but the swelling, that's not great. But a lot of people seem to think there is one dude in that series that might have the most amount of points when it's all said and done by the end of that series there. And it's Luka, who a lot of people are running to the window to say, hey, give me Luka to have the most points in the series. What kind of props do you look at series-wise ahead here coming up beginning on, tomorrow, really?
These are tough. I mean, the books they make you pay a huge price. I mean, Luka's minus 700 to have the most points in that series, minus 700. So it makes sense. Kawhi's second at 6-1. So you're looking at having to parlay something. And it really, I don't dabble in the series player props just because the books make you, it's ridiculous. I mean, Donovan Mitchell's minus 300 to lead the points in that Orlando series. Like even, the rebounds leader, Jared Allen is minus 350 to lead that series in rebounds.
You're paying for it.
Luka to have the most rebounds in that series is plus 105. That's interesting. Zubac is minus 135. I mean, who's going to play more minutes, Zubac or Luka? Luka probably. So that's the only one that I thought was it. I mean, even in the Timberwolves series, Rudy Gobert minus 400. Like you can't even really parlay. Like you can't even parlay Rudy Gobert most rebounds and Luka most points. You're still not even below minus 200. So these are really, really tough. The player series. I feel like the books are not giving you any value. Little disrespectful from the books there. At least give us a puncher's chance in this one. So.
Teddy, we're not talking about 6-man of the year awards that we're talking about playing. We're talking about Giannis. We're talking about Kawhi. I mean, there are some serious question marks on some of these teams health-wise. Does that factor in? Are you more hesitant to approach any sort of series games, kind of wait and see can Giannis be back by game 2, game 3? If they're down 2-0, is he playing one way or the other? How do you approach teams when their superstars have a giant question mark on them right now?
Carefully. I didn't make one series bet. That was Dallas. And that was Dallas thinking that Kawhi was going to be out, that the price was cheap. And, of course, when we look at the Mavericks down the stretch, they were elite. All right. Over the last post-All-Star break, Dallas was an elite team, and the markets haven't given them that respect just yet. Just like the Clips were an elite team back in January.
Yep.
That was January. So that's the one series bet. But again, we talk about all these injuries, and there's injuries, question marks, literally across the board. How Donovan Mitchell's going to play, he said he's not 100% or close to it. How healthy is he going to be? How effective is he going to be? Jamal Murray for Denver is a question mark right now. For Minnesota, is Karl Anthony Towns ready to go as we speak? Obviously Giannis for the Bucks. Now, obviously Kawhi for the Clips. And we haven't even started the playoffs yet. This is going to get worse before it gets better. All right. There will be injuries. In the regular season, we tend to look to bet on the teams with the injured players. The letdowns come. The opposing team, Kawhi's not playing tonight, it's going to be easy. And the team that has the injured players, we see it every time. They step up, hey, I get more playing time, I get more shot opportunities, I got to bring it right here. This is for my career. We see it all the time, and it's easy. It's like clockwork. In the postseason, it's different. All right, superstars matter at this time of the year. When the stars aren't on the court, guess what? The opposing team still isn't laying down because they're playing in the playoffs now. So in the postseason, the injured teams, you know what happens to them? They go home. That's what's going to happen to Milwaukee if Giannis doesn't get healthy. That's what happened in New Orleans if Zion doesn't get healthy. That's going to happen to each and every one of these teams if their star players aren't good to go.
Don't assume anybody is playing, not playing. So just hold off here, guys, especially with the superstars and some big question marks right now surrounding Milwaukee and surrounding, of course, the Clippers and so on and so forth. Go on down the list here. Unless you think Harden, of course, can pick up the slack. And we all know, where is he? Is he here? There he is. All right. Harden is definitely in. He is ready to pick up the slack. As always, as long as there's a titty joint somewhere around, he'll pick up all the slack you want there. Let me ask you this, Andy, real quick. There was a conversation earlier in the Slack about, I think Denver's going to repeat, and I'm just betting the Joker as MVP, which I think is like 3 or 4 to 1 right now for the whole thing. So it makes sense to correlate that far in advance. I mean, if you're betting Denver to win it and repeat, is Murray going to be healthy enough to even it's going to be him, right?
Probably, I guess. I don't think you're getting a great price on it. And if they don't win, then you lose. So I think you're probably better off betting them series by series. I don't think there's much value in the MVP. Yeah, Murray could win. Maybe you get some voters that are kind of sick of Jokic winning the MVP of everything. So that I would just stay away from it. Yeah. So you might have a little bit of that, but to me, it would have to be a very, very, very big number for them to repeat. Repeating is hard. Repeating is MVP. That's just not really a market I'm interested in. I'll just play it series by series.
Series by series. But I don't think, have we ever had, Teddy, in the NBA, a losing team have the MVP? Of the championship?
You're asking me, dude, I don't know. This is how much attention I pay to who wins the MVP award in the NBA.
Well, I just wanted to see if you actually.
I couldn't tell you any years. I know Joker won the last 2 years. I don't know. It's a stupid award. Look.
No,
You watch
MVP of
more
the
NBA.
championship,
Listen.
This is not the
This
MVP
is
of
key.
the end of the NBA. The MVP of the championship.
What kind of odds are you going to get on that? Just pick a team. Andy said something really smart there that's worth re-highlighting. Don't be lazy. Lazy way. I'm going to bet Denver to win it all. I'm going to bet Joker to win the MVP of the finals. Smart way. Bet Denver in the first series. Then decide if you want to bet Denver in the second series. Then decide if they're still alive, you decide you want to bet Denver in the third series. You'll get a better return on your investment if you bet them individual series-wise. You can make decisions. Do I risk it all? Do I risk some of it? Do I pull some back? You can make those decisions when you bet them series-wise. Anyone who's betting anything to win it all right now, I'm sorry, it's the lazy way. It's freaking lazy. If you want to make money, don't be lazy.
Couldn't have said perfect. There you go. So Instagram day drinking once again, as we can see here, because they have pretty much they've bet everybody for the MVP award at this particular point. So they're going on right down the ladder. They're laddering the whole thing by. It's hysterical. All right, guys, don't forget we do have plenty of NBA content coming your way. This is a monster, and I mean monster weekend here as we open up the NBA playoffs. We got 2 games tonight we got to get through. And Teddy, what is locked and loaded there over on your page at WagerTalk.com heading into this weekend?
I've got 1 play for tonight locked and loaded. I've got 2 plays for tomorrow locked and loaded. I have a series price locked and loaded. That is a free play. You can read the analysis. You can also read the analysis on a free play on the other NBA game for tonight. All on my page, wt.buzz/TC. We have a great playoff package available right now. We have a great Buy Teddy's NBA and Prez's NHL playoff package available right now. We got an all-access pass available right now. Whatever your price point, we've been running real good. 67% NBA run in recent weeks and more than 200 units of profit in the NBA since 2022. 59%, just shy of 59% long term. So you can get all that right now, depending on your price point, whatever you're looking for at wagertalk.com, wt.buzz/TC.
I'm not sure if this is real, but Tony Soprano is in the chat room, Teddy, right now, and wants you to know that he too is on the Bulls on the money line and wanted to make sure that in fact, that might be something you agree with. And I think it's safe to say, if you're just tuning in, Teddy did not like my hat, nor did he like the fact that the Miami Heat are playing there tonight. So I think, Tony Soprano, if that's really who you are, you're in good hands here with Teddy. I think you guys are on the same page. Andy, what do you got rolling here tonight, ready to rock and roll into the weekend?
Was it in the show? If I remember this, Tony Soprano was terrible at betting.
Yes,
they were
awful.
Bookmakers. Did you remember that? He was awful every time. Time he would. That was an ongoing thing that Tony Soprano was terrible at betting sports. But they were bookmakers, so they would take your action and then Tony Soprano would give it all back. Promo code Andy3 gets $30 off a 3-day pass. We've got PFL tonight running really well in MMA sports, 7-2 run on those. We've got a series bet in the NBA. We've got our lazy line of the week that is up. That goes off tomorrow. That's in the NBA. We have a Formula One race this weekend, so there will be bets in that. And we are 17-3 in our last 7 days. So while I don't expect to keep hitting at that rate, I still think we can be hitting at a really nice clip and bring in some good profits. So use a promo code Andy3, $30 off a 3-day pass. Should be a really nice weekend of profits.
Yeah. How is Andy? Are your anything on the RBC? By the way, tournament's off and running heading into the weekend. Do you post anything over the weekend, round by round?
Probably not this weekend. We actually made all of our money over the weekend at the Masters on individual round scores. Just fade Tiger on the weekend. Take us over the score on Saturday and Sunday. I didn't put it in big enough. I should have put the plays in twice. They were. It was. I put him in big, but I should have just doubled up and put him in big because that was as easy as it gets. So no, our plays are looking really good right now. Our big one, Sahith Thagala versus Sam Burns. I believe he's got a 5-shot lead. So when you and that's a 4% play. So when you got those plays that are looking great, I'll just sit tight, take the profits.
Outstanding stuff there, guys. And don't forget, we've got breakdowns on all the events happening here at WagerTalk and this weekend. Big events. There's a lot still to come here, guys. Don't forget these one-offs. We got the next major will be here before I know. Kentucky Derby will be here. All the big events over the next month. We have got you covered here. And it starts by hitting that subscribe button, hitting that like button, and then clicking on the video on your screen here, as you'll get access to all the content we have breaking down all the big games coming up this weekend. I certainly hope you make it a profitable one. Come back and join us again tomorrow. Last call, 11 a.m. Eastern time, breaking down a whole lot of baseball and, of course, a last look at the NBA games as well. So best of luck with your plays. We'll see you again tomorrow. Good luck.